Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you so much for joining me here again on the channel tonight. It is Monday night, November the 13th, 2017, and we are here to discuss the go-home show for this weekend's upcoming Survivor Series, brought to us by Monday Night Raw, and we are going to talk about it right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. So let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much once again for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball, and we are here to discuss the go-home show for Survivor Series that was put on by Monday Night Raw tonight that had huge Survivor Series implications based off of one absolutely tremendous announcement. Triple H is officially the fifth member of Team Monday Night Raw. And honestly, I'm coming at this on two ways. Now, obviously, being that I'm dressed in the t-shirt, and I have talked about it many times on this show over the last year, I am an absolutely huge Triple H guy. I was and always will be loyal to the game. I was a fan of his before he was the game and will continue to be so now that he is the COO of NXT and beyond. Okay, so let's get that just out of the way and under the rug. I am a Triple H guy. That being said, I'm not too thrilled with his inclusion only because it just leans more towards the WWE's common thread all year or over the last couple of years where they just bring guys back from the past. No matter how awesome they may be, bringing them back takes away a spot from somebody who could be being built up. Now, that being said, when Jason Jordan went down with his little injury tonight, I was automatically stumped, just trying to come up with anybody to fill into that spot that would be the magnitude of a John Cena, or even somebody just below the level of a John Cena. Going so far as to think maybe, Kurt Angle might steal somebody from SmackDown. Maybe he'd steal Rusev back to Raw because of how bad things went on SmackDown. I don't know. But I couldn't imagine for a minute that it was going to be the game Triple H. As much sense as it actually does make as it pertains to the story that they are trying to tell. But another problem that I have with it is the fact that they have officially, not officially, but essentially turned this 5-on-5 Raw versus SmackDown brand superiority match into a McMahon versus a McMahon family scuffle storyline, which I'm kind of not okay with, because we've seen this before, we've done this before. Stephanie McMahon is the exact same character now that she was then. She's just as grating on your nerves no matter when she comes out, no matter what ridiculous dress she wants to wear, whether or not it hurts your eyes, whether or not it's not flattering to her body. Ridiculous dress tonight. She doesn't add anything to the show in a positive way. Even though, and it's not very often that I get to say this, everything she said tonight to Kurt Angle, I actually said last week, and I have to say she had a point. Stephanie McMahon started this show tonight tearing down Kurt Angle just based off the fact that he picked Jason Jordan and put him on his team for no other reason, obviously, than because he was his son. He is clearly unqualified. And she would tear into him the same way we would see her tear into Mick Foley and anybody else she's had a power struggle with, Eric Bischoff. It's always the same old stuff from Stephanie. But the story progressed in a way where I will just accept it and go. Let's just, at this point, let's go and get it over with, because the possibilities that lay before us in this 5-on-5 match now with the inclusion of Triple H are off the charts. Just being able to say to you the words Triple H versus Shinsuke Nakamura, knowing that it's actually going to happen this Sunday, whether or not it be for 20 seconds or 2 minutes, I'm already invested. I want to see the Game versus the King of Strong Style. The King of Kings versus the King of Strong Style. It's a match made in heaven. Two completely different styles. Too bad it's not a one-on-one match. Maybe that's a match we can get to see somewhere else down the line. Maybe his inclusion in this match is a way to plant the seeds for him to come back and play with all the new little toys. And maybe get his NXT guys back over in a place where they belong on the main roster. Which is what also gets me excited about the possibilities of Triple H taking on Bobby Roode. You know, once upon a time, maybe about 12, 15 years ago, maybe I want to say, TNA Wrestling was a great company, and they were doing good things, and the wrestling there was fantastic, and there was a team, there was a stable there, and they were known as Team Canada. And within that team, there was one spry young man who reminded me of Triple H. In his movements, in the way he carried himself, and even when he would go on to break away from Team Canada and go on to be part of one of the greatest tag teams TNA has ever had, and then would go on and break away from that and become one of the best world champions they had before the company would start to tank in a downward spiral that they would not be able to recover from. That young man's name was Robert Roode, and he was a Triple H clone to me. And I cannot wait to see them standing in the ring opposite each other. I have always said that they are a mirror image of one another. It goes way back to the first time I laid eyes on the kid, and it goes and continues to him doing an almost near identical spine buster. Nobody used to deliver the spine buster the way Triple H did it until I've seen Bobby Roode do it and continues to do it. And that matchup right there just makes me smile. It makes me excited once again for this Survivor Series matchup. And when you look at everybody else on the SmackDown Live team that Triple H is going to have to go up against, history tells the tale. Triple H and his history with the 16-time world champion John Cena is well documented, as is his whole lifetime feud with Randy Orton, dating back to the Evolution days and beyond. So those two matchups right there are already something we haven't seen in years and something we would like to see again. And then, of course, like I said, you have the elephant in the room, the overbearing shadow of McMahon versus McMahon, because Shane McMahon is the team captain, and he will have no choice but to lock up with his brother-in-law, making this all about the McMahons. Once again, the one negative thing I take away from the whole move here. And the other thing I just want to say is, I don't understand. This card has changed so many times since they first announced the preliminary card for Survivor Series that it's almost mind-boggling, isn't it? Like, shouldn't you have the card already set up like weeks out in advance? And if this was truly your end game in this move with Triple H, if this was the plan all along, it should have definitely been built better. But they prove every single week more and more that what I said earlier this year that it is more and more true, that they are operating so much more and more the way World Championship Wrestling used to operate right before they hit the iceberg and sunk the gold mine that was WCW. They had all the right pieces in place, but they made all the wrong moves. The booking decisions were terrible. Things were changing minute by minute. And that's what we're getting, essentially, here with the WWE. It speaks even more with the way they like to overexpose everybody. I don't really have a problem with The Miz so much. I've never really been that down on him, but I'm just so tired of seeing Miz TV. And if they were already booked in a matchup to go on against The Shield, then that Miz TV segment was completely unnecessary. The match was booked. There was no need for them to go out and hype this. If that segment were to be used to hype the opponents at Survivor Series that they are not going to be fighting with on this very show, then I would be a little bit more forgiving of it, like Sheamus and Cesaro did. But The Miz, I don't even think, said the word Baron Corbin during the Miz TV segment. So his whole focus on this night was, we are beating the Shield. And he wants to try to say that even the WWE Universe knows that it takes the Shield to take down the teaming of The Miz and the Bar. Or as I've been calling them all night, the Bar Mitzvah. Because it's a friggin' childish party, man. The fact that I have to keep seeing this pairing and this team up, and they just keep going against Rollins and Ambrose and whoever they want to stick in there. Finally, it's Roman. Finally. But did it matter? What did this match mean? You essentially had your two champions. You had your Intercontinental Champion and your Tag Team Champions, who should be gaining momentum going into this weekend's upcoming encounters with their respective champions of the other brand, losing on your main show to put over a group that doesn't need to be put over. The Shield doesn't need to be put over. Atlanta was all over the Shield tonight, in a good way. Even when the Shield came out earlier in the night to interrupt Stephanie McMahon as she was berating Kurt Angle, to tell her that, Kurt's our guy. The crowd was clearly pro-Shield. They weren't pro-Roman. It wasn't any more special when Roman came out. It was a steady, consistent roar. It didn't get any louder for anybody in particular. Roman's promo, decent for him tonight. Actually, not bad. He seemed to be skirting that line of a badass, because as we say, he should be being a bad guy. And when he delivers his promos in that arrogant and snooty, I'm better than you kind of way, it just comes off maybe a little bit more natural. And, far be it from me to deny credit where credit is due. And Roman Reigns, not bad tonight on the mic. Not bad. Not great. Nothing for us to be shouting on the rooftops, oh, it's time, he's finally got it. No, we're not there. But it's a vast improvement. Maybe he's been working on it while he's been away, suffering with his mumps or his jitis, whatever it is that he's got there. But all in all, those were the biggest moments of tonight's Raw. Everything else was inconsequential. Well, Paul Heyman is always delivering top-notch promos. And tonight was much more in the same. He wanted to highlight 5 reasons why we should be interested in this match. The first of which is, it may never happen again. The second one being the fact that AJ Styles is the faster competitor, that Brock Lesnar's always been put up against bigger guys than him, supposedly stronger guys than him, more experienced guys than him. But this is the first time he's going up against a faster competitor. And sometimes speed kills. So it'll be interesting to see. Then some jerk-off decides to propose to his wife in the crowd. And I apologize for calling him a jerk-off. It just came off that way. Because he hijacked this whole segment because the crowd got into it. And the girl said yes. And as you all heard if you were watching tonight, the she said yes chants rained down on the arena. Pissed off Paul Heyman. He attacked these guys in the crowd saying she only said yes because she's never been with a real man like Brock Lesnar. It was just fantastic live TV, and there is nobody who would have handled that situation better than Paul Heyman. He actually tweeted out during the show tonight, and Taz would second this tweet, like, could you imagine what would have happened to those fans. If something like that went down in the ECW arena, they would have tore them up, maybe to the point where these people probably would have left the show. It would have been absolutely ruthless, because those were the days back then, and ECW was good for stuff like that. And this just what this kind of reminded me of in that little moment. But reason number 3, he would point out, is that AJ Styles is actually the perfect opponent for Brock Lesnar. That he is the ultimate performer and the possibly, arguably best performer of his generation. He then will go on to say maybe that should go to Finn Balor, but I'll let you guys fight that out. I thought that was a nice little jab. You know, it just doesn't make much sense. I know that Finn Balor was slated to be going up against the Beast Brock Lesnar at some point, but that being said, didn't mean much more than anything else that Paul Heyman said. It was just him doing his Paul Heyman thing. And then reason number 4 is because AJ Styles and everything he's going through, it's like a Rocky movie. But this ain't no Rocky movie. And reason number 5 would be number F5, because AJ Styles will not survive Suplex City. He will not survive the Beast, and he will, just like everybody else, end up being beaten and victimized and conquered by the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Fantastic stuff by Paul Heyman, as always. What else did we have go on tonight? We talked about Jason Jordan and Bray Wyatt. Did we talk about that? I don't think so. Jason Jordan and Bray Wyatt. Now, I don't understand why you would bring Bray Wyatt back only to have him lose. Here you have him in a situation where you can actually reset this guy. He's been off of television. He's been sick. You weren't doing anything good with him before this. The gods have answered our prayers and stopped the whole Pumpkin Face versus Sister Abigail match, which should never have even been booked in the first place. And here you sit with a guy that has limitless potential. And you say, I got it. Here's what we do. We bring Bray Wyatt back. We're going to re-debut him on Monday Night Raw. We'll put him up against Jason Jordan. We'll have him lose to make Jason Jordan look good, but then we'll have him break Jason Jordan's legs and take him out of the Survivor Series match. I have a lot of problems with that. The main problem being, if you wanted to book this match, fine. There was no reason for Bray Wyatt to lose. None. If the end of that match was to be having Jason Jordan's leg decimated to the point where we're to believe he cannot continue and needs to be removed from Survivor Series, then that should have been the way the match should have ended. Bray Wyatt should have been disqualified, or he should have went absolutely berserk and just completely destroyed Jason Jordan's leg to the point where the referee had to stop the match, or something of that nature. Not making him look like the eater of pins, as he's become so known to all of us here. And it's just absolutely terrible. It's terrible. That's my biggest problem with Bray Wyatt's return tonight. Not just the fact that he lost, but that he lost to Jason Jordan, and there's absolutely nothing behind it. Where does this guy go from here? If he can't beat Jason Jordan, how are we supposed to believe he could beat anybody at all? I loved Bray Wyatt. I say loved with a D because it's past tense. I don't know where to go with him, just like they don't know where to go with him. I can't stop believing in the guy just to have him losing to Jason Jordan. I got all excited to hear his music, but But for what? For what? This is one of the greatest and most underutilized characters. One of the most misunderstood and terribly booked characters they have ever had. He reminds me now less of The Undertaker like he did when he debuted. He had a real strange Undertaker vibe going on about him. He reminds me more now of Papa Shango, which anybody can tell you is not good. Not good at all. The Shield versus the Bar Mitzvah was actually not too bad. But it is everything we all expected it would be. Absolutely, completely predictable WWE bullshit. You know, the Shield was going to win this match from before the bell even rang with the triple powerbomb. We all knew it was coming. So, no surprise there at all. Enzo and Drew Gulak, I actually enjoy them as a team. I don't know if maybe I'm losing my mind. You guys let me know. There's just something about Drew Gulak that works opposite Enzo Amore. They're so opposite, and he's just so... I can't even describe it. He's just so goofy, man. Like, he reminds me of Andy from The Office. You know, like, he's just a goofus. Not a goofus. Is goofus a word? It is now. You heard it here first. He's a goofus. Which is a goof and a doofus, which is obviously worse than being one of those things by themselves. But I like them. I like their chemistry. I wish they weren't relegated to 205 Live, and I wish they were a tag team. You know, in absence of Big Cass and that whole split that they did, he should have paired up with Drew Gulak, and we could have had a great tag team for the Monday Night Raw division that's absolutely entertaining. They just work because they're so different, and I like it. What I don't like is the 205 Live Cruiserweight division, which is where all this shit is taking place. So that's a big negative, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Kalisto and Akira Tozawa. Akira Tozawa is one of the greatest performers I've seen in all of the Cruiserweight Classic. You would never know that by watching him on Monday Night Raw. And the fact that he is losing... and in fact taking the pinfall after the Jordunzo to the face is even more of a disgrace. This guy came in with such potential. And you've done things like paired him up with Apollo and Titus. And now, seemingly that's over with. And now you just have him taking the pins in a Cruiserweight Championship feud tag team match that means nothing. Terrible. Just like I say with everybody else, if I was Tozawa, I'd be leaving soon. And I know Kota Ibushi is laughing his ass off because he turned the WWE down and said no thank you. And now he's set to wrestle Cody Rhodes at the upcoming Wrestle Kingdom 12. On the same night, we will see Chris Jericho wrestle Kenny Omega. It's going to be a happening. And I'm going to do my very damn best to get my eyes on that one because it's certainly going to be better than anything else we're going to be seeing. I'm telling you. Some fantastic stuff going on there. So, what does that mean for the Cruiserweight division? Who knows? Do you think the incoming Rockstar Spud is going to make a difference? I don't. I didn't really care about this tag team match. Once Enzo and Drew Gulak stopped talking, I stopped really watching. We had in the women's division Bayley. We had Bayley finally win something. She won her way onto this Survivor Series team. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I believe they showed it again on the replay. But last week in the review, I stated that Sasha Banks and Bayley both were granted spots on the team. Because Alicia Fox, at the conclusion of her match last week with Sasha Banks, would stumble out to the outside and say, listen up, both of you. Did she not say, both of you? I want you on my team. I need you on my team. So, was that a botch? Was that a mess up? there? And did she kind of give away the fact that Bayley was going to be on the team and it just got swept under the radar, and then they still had this ridiculous match which meant nothing to anybody? We got to see Miss Piggy, Miss Dana Brooke, who nobody wants to see. Thank God I didn't eat dinner tonight, or else I would have threw up all over my poor daughter who was sitting next to me. Holy shit, I hate seeing her. And Mickie James, who's always a joy. I don't mind seeing Mickie James. And then we would have Captain Foxy and the rest of Team Raw on the outside. Nia Jax looked like she didn't even want to be there. From the beginning to the end of this segment, go back if you think I'm lying, watch Nia Jax and you can see it all in her eyes. She don't want to be there. She don't want to be part of this segment. She don't want to be probably part of this whole thing. She, like me, probably doesn't understand why she's not the captain of this team and she's not the driving force of the women's division on Monday Night Raw. If they would have done it correctly, she should be the unstoppable monster that should have had the title since she stepped foot on Monday Night Raw, barreling through all challenges until this moment where we have Asuka come in undefeated from NXT, never lost her title, going up against this unbeatable monster in Nia Jax. And then Asuka would fell the beast, and the Asuka's reign of terror herself would begin, because nobody is ready for Asuka. Not even Nia Jax would have been ready for Asuka, and that's the way they should have went about this. Instead, we get this triple threat match for this SmackDown versus Raw Women's Division match. And Dana Brooke would get thrown to the outside. And Asuka would, being the nice little peach that she is, go to check on Dana Brooke, be like, "Are you okay, little piggy?" And then she would get up and start messing with Asuka. And she mushed Asuka in the face. And then Asuka got pissed and started chasing Dana Brooke all over. Would essentially kick Dana Brooke's snout clear into the third row, effectively taking her out of the match. Mickie James is watching all this going on, turns around waiting into the open arms of Bayley that hits the Bayley to belly and actually gets the win. Good for you. But I already thought you were on the team, based off of what the captain said last week. The captain who likes to act like a pilot, who's wearing a seaboat captain's hat. Little things that irk me. That's essentially it, you guys, because is it really worth talking about Kane and Braun Strowman? The minute I knew Kane was going to be on this show, I checked out. When they said it was the main event, I automatically knew I was not watching the main event. And in fact, I didn't. I was checking the Twitter boards. I had it on in the TV in my living room. I wasn't paying attention until I heard some loud crash, and I turned my attention to the TV, only to see Raw going off the air with a big hole in the middle of the ring. And they pulled another one of these big spots. And now Braun Strowman has effectively hit every big time spot, every special attraction spot you could imagine. He broke the ring with the Big Show. He's now gone through the ring with Kane. And my problem with this not only is the fact that Kane was involved, and is not the fact that Kane was in this main event. It is all based in the fact that, one, we've seen this so many times before, it's so unoriginal, and mainly, two, or B, or whichever you want to use, is the fact that Braun Strowman survived the whole week in a garbage truck. He went in the back of a white one and survived and got out of that one, climbed himself. He enjoyed it so much, he climbed back into the back of a red one in another town, and then came into the arena and destroyed The Miz and everybody. And he can't get up out of this hole after being the aggressor in this attack, how hurt could Braun Strowman have been? They went through the ring not simultaneously. Braun Strowman drove Kane through the ring. You wanted to make an impact? You wanted to make or get Braun Strowman over with this stupid segment that never gets anybody over? You have him come out of that hole. Stand in the middle of the ring, raise his arms. Braun! Music hits, then you fade to black and ask us all to go watch the Goldberg 24, which I am about to do. Why did we not see Braun Strowman at least come out of the hole? I'm hoping the only good thing that could come out of this is that we don't ever see Kane again. Maybe Kane will be stuck down that hole. Maybe that hole went right down to wherever the hell it is he's running for mayor, which I keep forgetting where the hell it is, and I don't care enough to know. Tennessee, Kentucky, Williamsburg, Virginia, whichever one it is, who cares? Just go there. I hope that hole went directly to his mayoral chair, if he even won the damn election. If it's happened yet, I don't know. I don't care. Just go back to doing your mayor thing. That's where that hole should lead. And Braun Strowman should have climbed out that hole. He didn't. Hopefully, it has no ramifications on Survivor Series, because this thing has changed so many times. And I fully expect it to change again when we hit tomorrow night, you guys. SmackDown Live's got 2 more hours of changes to make. And 2 championship matches, one of which I know for sure is going down. A betting man, I am not, but if I did decide to place $1 on a bet tomorrow, it would be the fact that Charlotte Flair is going to beat Natalya. And Natalya is going to take her place on the SmackDown team, and Charlotte is going to go up against Alexa Bliss, champion versus champion, at Sunday's Survivor Series. Take that one to the bank. The other one they could definitely do as well, because as everybody was complaining about, it was all heel versus heel matches, and you still have The Miz versus Baron Corbin. And if Sin Cara, the thorn apparently in Baron Corbin's side that he just can't get rid of, if Sin Cara comes out of this thing winning the U.S. title, wow, that'll be bad. That'll be a real bad way to change this card, because, not because of Baron Corbin or how I feel about him, or that because they're going to have such a great match, but because these 2 guys took it upon themselves to hit social media and make this one of the more interesting feuds going on right now. The Miz and Baron Corbin have been getting pretty real and have been stabbing some pretty real jabs at each other, pushing some real highly intense buttons on one another, bringing in people's families and things that you just don't do. And The Miz has been on fire with it. Baron Corbin seemingly being on fire as well, pulling off some of the best insults and things you could imagine for a guy like him, who doesn't seem to have much charisma, or doesn't seem to be able to shoot from the hip and pull off a good promo. But all his stuff he's been doing with The Miz has been great. So if they stray from this, all that is for nothing. Just like everything they've done with Jinder Mahal, essentially at this point, has been for nothing. And we've suffered all those months. And now we can at least bask in the joy of AJ Styles. And the suffering will hopefully soon be over for good. I mean, there's not much for us to hope for. I mean, I don't want to sit here and say, oh, this is the moment, we're on our way to good things. We're not. We're still on our way to wherever Vince and Kevin Dunn decide to take us. And that's a scary thought, man. That's a scary thought. The next stop they're taking us to is tomorrow night's SmackDown Live, in the final go-home show before this Sunday's Survivor Series. Do not forget to join us here tomorrow night for that, as well as this Friday comes, as usual, before the pay-per-view. The preview and prediction show will be up live for you guys Friday morning right here on Sledgehammer TV. Don't forget to check it out, as well as everything else we put up. The channel was full of weekend updates. The Newswire was hot all weekend long. We got a story about Daniel Bryan's return. We talked about John Cena being the 5th member of SmackDown. We got weekend updates all over the place. Don't forget to check out each and every one of them and everything else we have available on the channel. I got my top 10 things wrong with 2K18. If you haven't watched that one out, go check that one out. I really like that one. It was a lot of fun, and I want to know what you guys think. Maybe you think I'm crazy. I'd love to know that. Just let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there leaving your comments like you guys always do, don't forget to check out Clutch Chairs. If you have not yet already, go check out all the WWE themed merchandise over there. It's absolutely great. Black Friday is coming up. They are going to be having a sale. I have not been made privy to the details of it just yet, but I will let you know if you want to try to get your hands on one of them badass chairs, as I'm definitely going to try to take advantage myself and get myself possibly an AJ Styles chair, or maybe a Triple H chair. I don't know if they're going to have one there. We're going to have to go ourselves and click that link down below to check it out, just like you should do. And that's the best way you could support the show, and we greatly appreciate it. While you're doing that, don't forget, if you're not a part of the Sledgehammer Club already, all you have to do to join up is hit that subscribe button, follow it by ringing the bell, notifying YouTube and me that you are part of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show family. And you will be notified each and every time a video just like this drops, the very second that it does. Smash that like button, hit that thumbs up for me, and share this video with all your wrestling buddies, because you know that this is the place to be. And if they're not here by now, they should be. And I want to thank you guys for being here with me as always. My name is Nick Nightmare. With me as always, Blue the Snowball Microphone, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world. That is going to do it. And we are out of here. And we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Thank you so much, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live. More changes coming. I guarantee it. We'll see you then.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.